Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we'll be fixing the various squeaks and rattles caused by things that are broken in the interior of my G-Wagon. Before that, let's roll the intro. This is my Japanese import 2002 G500. At the time of buying it was the cheapest running and driving G-Wagon in Europe, with the only caveat being that it was the cheapest running and driving 2002 onwards G-Wagon. So there were cheaper ones that had the older style interior. I didn't really want to go that old, so yeah, that's why I got this thing. While it was a decent vehicle, it did have a lot of mechanical issues, things that were neglected maintenance wise, and it does have quite a few broken things in the interior. Squeaking and rattling is generally not unheard of in these vehicles. They are quite known for having these, especially the older ones like this one. So in today's video, like I said, we'll be attempting to resolving most, if not all, of these. So without further ado, let's get started. So while I was at Mercedes to get these nice new rubber floor mats, I also got quite a few things for the interior. They're all in this nice Mercedes-Benz paper bag. And the first order of business would be to replace this thing. So if you remember, when I bought this was flopping around. It was completely broken and loose from the clip here in the front. Now I did manage to pop it back in, but it's still broken, so this is why it's not sitting correctly. So I got a brand new piece to replace this one with, along with, like I said, lots of other things. So let's get cracking. Let's first replace this thing. So to remove this piece of plastic right here, the seat surround, we'll need to unhook the belt. And it's hidden behind this little cap here. That's where the fastener is that holds the belt in here. So in order to remove this, basically you just grab it here in the top and basically pry out. So this is what this piece of plastic looks like, and here is the part number 48203 918 3330. So if yours is missing or is broken, any of these clips, and it has fallen apart, this is the part number for this piece. Now we need to get this fastener out of there. If I remember correctly, that's a T45. So let's see if I remember correctly. So let's see now, T45. Yes, it is a T45. As you can see, when I'm actually loosening the fastener, the entire plastic piece just is trying to fall out. Don't lose the fastener. I'll put it right here, and now we can see the plastic piece. As you can see, it's broken right here where the fastener goes, and this clip right here is partially missing. So this basically goes in here in the front, so when this thing is broken, it just flops around. Here you also have the seat motor. If you ever need to replace that one, it's here, and the secondary seat motor is on the other side. So this one actually is responsible for the backrest, and the other one, the one that's stuck right in there, is responsible for the upwards, downwards, and so for upwards, downwards, and forwards and backwards movement of the seat. These are the parts that I got. So we have here the plastic piece, and I also got a new fastener, so seatbelt fastener right here. This is the part number for the fastener right here, and this is the part number for the entire plastic piece. Once again, stamped right here. This is a Mercedes OEM part. There are no other manufacturers that make these, so it's only Mercedes-Benz original. This thing set me back, I think, about 35 to 40 euros. The screw was, I think, $2 or $3. So why not just replace everything? I would also have replaced this, but didn't have it in stock and I didn't want to wait. So we'll be reusing this brand new seat trim piece, whatever, brand new fastener. Just one more thing to note of, you can see here, so this is the new piece. See here how this is full and this is broken. In comparison side by side. And also there is this little plastic pin that's missing on the old one, but it's here on the new one behind, and it goes right here. So we'll need to pry this pin out because it's broken and put the new one, the new piece with the new pin and everything else. So the way this works, like I said, is you have this little hook and it needs to go into this piece right here. So you grab this and you hook it from the front first, and only then you clip it here in the back with this little guy. Moving the seat will also go a long way. And you'll know when it's in place. You can see now it's firmly in place. It's held in by the clip so it doesn't fall out, even though we don't have the fastener right here. So now we take our new fastener. Take the new fastener, we take the seat belt. Be mindful of the orientation, so this piece right here, the one that protrudes, this goes towards the seat. It has this little hole right here where it needs to go, right there, so you'll know when it's in place. And now with the T45, we need to tighten this. Nice and tight. Now what's left to do is to put back our little plastic piece. You see there it has these 3 clips on either side, so it just clips in place, just like that. And now I can actually see that the old one was a lot blacker than the new one. This one is still black, this is a little bit shinier because this has armor roll on it, this doesn't. But anyways, once everything is armor rolled, it will look exactly the same. Another thing that has bugged me since the beginning is the state of the antenna cover right there. So this is the telephone antenna. You can see that it's disgusting, it's all broken up, it's falling apart basically. So I got a new piece and this is it. This is the part number A2028270031. So this is the replacement part. This was about 15 bucks. The replacement is pretty much as simple as it gets. You just grab that thing, pull it up and replace it with the new one. Old broken antenna boot. As you can see, this one is just falling apart. The antenna, nice shiny telephone antenna. But now let's unbox this thing and put it in its place. Here is the new cover. Looks perfect, and you just like that, nice and new. The next thing would be to replace this thing right here. It might look fine, but this is actually broken, and this was broken when I bought the vehicle. I just didn't notice it right away. This one is fine, this one not as much. So this I actually didn't buy from Mercedes because it was something stupid like 150 to 100 bucks. So I was like, nope, I'm not paying that much for this little piece. And the funny thing is, a lot of these parts, a lot of these interior parts for the G-Wagon, for these early ones till 2012 when they were facelifted, they actually use a lot of parts from other Mercedes vehicles from this era. So for example, this piece right here, so these rear AC vents, these actually come out of a E-Class W210, so the older E-Class. And this is what I have. Replacement, it says here 210, and this is the part number, which is A210 A301454. The S is for Schwarz, so this is the black one. There are also other colors, but this one is the black one and it's identical. In the E-Class it stays something like this, but in the G-Wagon you just need to turn it around, and as you can see it's exactly the same. So now we need to remove this and replace it with this. These rear vents are held in with a couple of clips on either side, so we'll need a little flathead screwdriver to jam in there and just pry this thing out. It took some time because of the way the ducting sits inside, and so basically this goes into the ducting so that it flows hot or cold air out of it. They took a little bit of time, but now it's out. You can see here are the clips, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It's where it's held, and now it's all about the matter of just putting this back in there. Again, it went in a little bit more difficult than it should have, or it possibly could have, but anyways, it's in and it's working perfectly. This is in great condition, this piece. These are even tight, so on the old one they were very loose. These things are super tight, which is amazing. Let's continue on. If you remember from previous videos, my ashtray is actually broken. So it used to rattle a lot. Now it doesn't anymore, simply because I installed these little shims behind the fasteners on either side so that they can actually bite into something, because little ears where the fastener should be going through originally are no longer there. So we'll need to replace this ashtray with a new one. The other issue with my ashtray is that so the cigarette lighter actually doesn't work. I don't smoke in the car, so this is not a big issue in that regard, but this is a power outlet as well. So I would like to have the ability to charge my phone from here, and now I currently don't because this doesn't work. I've tried plugging in a phone charger in there, such as this one for my Xiaomi phone, but it doesn't light up, so nothing really happens. So we need to remove this ashtray and replace it with another one. The first thing that we need to do in order to remove the ashtray is pull the gear lever out of the way, because right now, as it stands, we cannot remove the ashtray. So we take something thin and long and we put it right here. At that point we can just pull the gear lever down, even with the vehicle not running. So now we actually have full access to the ashtray. As you can see, gear lever is out and we can work on it. Now I need to remove these two Phillips head screws and remove the ashtray out of here. Take a Phillips head bit. And let's remove the ashtray from here. The cable that you're seeing here is from the aux installation, so this is an aux cable, so that I can play music from my phone. If you're interested in knowing how to install an aux input into a older command such as this one, go check out that video. So now we can pull the ashtray out. It has an electrical connector here in the back that needs to be removed. It's a simple clip. You basically press onto the clip and pull the connector out. So this is the ashtray, that's the original one. As you can see, like I said, these little ears on either side are broken, so this is why it squeaks and rattles. It also doesn't hold this in, and it should. So now let me show you my replacement one. This is my replacement ashtray, but hey, you may say, they're not the same one. As you can clearly see, they in fact aren't. This is actually the ashtray from the S-Class W221, and even though it may look different, it's exactly the same ashtray as this one. Again, this brand new ashtray such as this one for a G-Wagon, not only is it discontinued and they don't sell them anymore at Mercedes, but the parts guy said that these are like 600 or 700 euros when new, so I was not going to pay anything like that for a new ashtray. This one I got for $5 out of a parts car. So now let's go back in the trunk where we have a little bit more space to work, and let's see how we'll make this become into this. Well, when I said there's more space in the back, I lied a little bit, because I have a lot of car parts, and this piece right here, which is actually from the rear door, as you can see, I removed everything, all of the trim, trying to track down some rattling noises and squeaking noises coming from the back door. Now, as you can see, this is the original ashtray from the G-Wagon. This works properly. This thing is a little bit broken, but we'll make it work. The most important thing, like I said, is that here we can see the ears on either end are broken, and this is proper. It doesn't have anything broken on it. The thing is that, as you can see here, so this entire ashtray, these things that stick out are very narrow, unlike here. So what we'll need to do is cut straight through here, just after the hole on the inner side of the ashtray. Same goes here. I have my little saw that I used for the speakers in that video, where we actually fit in the new speakers into the housings of the old ones, so that they fit properly. This is that basically the same process. So we'll make this look like this, and then once everything's cut, we'll measure exactly where the original fastener holes were, and we'll drill with a very tiny drill bit. Last piece is the trim. The trim itself is clipped to the ashtray on both models, so we'll just get this trim from here, remove this one, and yeah, just swap them around. So let's do that. The first order of business will be to remove the trim from the G-Wagon ashtray. This trim is perfect, there are no cracks and no scratches on it, so I want to preserve it exactly the way it is. So the way we'll remove the trim is we get a tiny flathead screwdriver and we pry from either side, so here and also right here. With that, the trim simply comes right out. It's clipped here from the top. As you can see, it has these little ridges, and it clips here on the top bezel and then here underneath, as I already showed you where we press that out. So this is basically it. Now what we'll need to do is the same thing on the other ashtray. As you can see, the trim comes right out, and here we have the S-Class ashtray. This is how it turned out. This side is pretty much perfect, it's spot on compared to the original ashtray. It looks exactly the same. On this side I did accidentally cut a little bit more, so I trimmed it here It should have been a little bit longer, something like this, a couple of more millimeters. But anyway, so like I said, the concept is sound. I just messed this one up, so I will need to buy another ashtray. Good thing is that these ashtrays from the W221, they are very cheap. There are a lot of these cars being sold for parts, so finding another one is going to be very simple. So yeah, anyways, I will, because I destroyed this ashtray, I was trying to get this thing out, and yeah, so this is not going to go anywhere. This is trash now. So what I'll end up doing is I will drill this hole here. I will see about this one on the other side. I'll put this in for now until I can find a replacement ashtray. But yeah, so that's basically it. Anyways, the good thing is at least I did check this, and this is working properly. So the other thing with this one is this is broken. So actually there is this little peg that needs to go into this groove, and as you can see, it's broken on this one. So there's nothing. That's why this thing is not propping up when you open the ashtray. That's why I wanted to get this one, but I destroyed everything in the process. Plus there is something wrong with this, because I probed it and electricity is going to basically here, so to the plug, and after the plug, so there's something going wrong with this inside, and this is not going to be usable anyway. So I'll use this one for now, and later on I'll replace it once more. Good thing it was only 10 bucks. So for the longest time I did have a rattling coming from the rear door, and I thought that was kind of expected, considering the fact that the panel that was right here, meaning this one, the leather on it was all flapping around. It was separated from the panel itself. I'll put in a brief snippet from that original video, and I thought that was causing the issue. So when the only thing that was holding the leather piece, meaning this thing, to the panel itself broke, and it was this little guy, so it just fell apart. It was supposed to be nice plastic, and this is all mushy old crap. So when this thing let go, which was the surround for the latch mechanism, so this entire leather piece just fell out. Yet my rattling continued. So I thought, well, there are quite a few plastic pieces all around here, so maybe that's it, maybe that's the issue. So I took everything apart. As you can see, we will go through the entire process of reattaching these. I'll show you exactly how these come apart, how they reattach, but my issue still wasn't fixed. I still had rattling here, and I just didn't know what in the world was causing it. It was very strange, because at slower speeds, even over big bumps, nothing. It was rock solid. But as soon as I picked up a little bit of speed, even over smaller bumps, it would just go crazy squeaking. So I pulled up some documentation on the G-Wagon concerning squeaks coming from the rear door. I found a service bulletin, and basically it was a very, very small thing that can cause these things to just go nuts in squeaks. And this is this guy right here. So if you can see, I have already addressed this, but this thing, as you can see by the way that the carpeting here is deformed, so this plastic piece was all the way back, like absolutely just wedged in here. It was so far back that this was actually not properly contacting this contraption right here. So the way this works is, it's like a little fork that goes, so this piece is supposed to attach right here, and when this is too far backwards, it just doesn't make proper contact. So when it goes all around this little contraption, it just wasn't making proper contact, causing the door just to bounce off the latch itself and not being securely set in place with this. So what you need to do is unloosen these hex, I think they were hex 7s or hex 8 fasteners. Just unloosen them, and as you can see, I've just put it all the way forwards, as forwards it can basically go. It doesn't have any upwards, and so it doesn't go up and down, so this movement doesn't exist, only goes forwards and backwards. So I just reattached it as forwards as possible towards the back side of the vehicle and greased it up as much as possible. I did also put some grease right here, and now when I close the door, no more squeaks and rattles. That being said, considering that I reattached all of these pieces here anyways, we'll need to basically fix the door. While I thought of just slapping all of these things back to the door, what I also considered is maybe putting some noise isolation here, because as you can see, this is very teeny metal. I was like, well, why not? So I got this thing. So let me put you someplace where you can actually see the process. We'll put some noise insulation here, and then just finish this door. Then we'll continue onwards with some other fun interior stuff. Before we continue with the actual laying out of the noise insulation on the rear door, I will start addressing these things. So as you can see, the leather currently, it is completely separated. There was some old glue right here, mostly nothing left on this piece. So what we need to do is remove all of this old glue that was here, apply some new one, put that thing on top, and let that sit in while the glue is drying and that piece is becoming securely attached to the panel itself. Then we will be putting, in the meantime, the noise insulating materials right here on the door. So without further ado, let's get cracking with this. This is what the panel looks with the glue removed. There is still some small residue, as you can see, but it's not sticking up any longer as it used to before, and it's as smooth as it could be, basically, without going overboard with this. I already spent an hour cleaning it up, simply because some idiot decided to use crazy glue. Right here you can still see the remnants of the crazy glue, and on this side as well, these glass looking shards. So yeah, where there was no crazy glue, the original adhesive came out very easily. It was like peeling a stubborn potato, but here it required a lot more force, and it took a very long time. Anyways, with that done, we need to clean all of this up and then put on the new adhesive so that this piece can properly bond to the panel itself. So let's do that right now. Surface was cleaned up, prepped, and the new glue applied. So try not to go too close to the edges, otherwise when you plop that thing on top, some of the glue might come out and become visible. So I just put a good amount in the center of it, and now we can take this guy and carefully plop it right here, and we'll need to let this thing dry. In the meantime, like I said, while this is drying, we can now move to putting the noise insulation right here on these panels. So what most people do when this is done professionally, they use cardboard and they cut specific pieces out, then they lay the cardboard on top of the material and they do it that way. I am not going for a showroom quality, pretty much no one is going to be seeing this, so I didn't bother bringing any cardboard with me. So I'll just eyeball it and just cut some pieces which will then try to fit in these crevices here. This one is particularly rattly, and just fill everything as much as possible. In terms of material, I have got two kinds of it. So the first is this thing. It's from a brand called CDK. It's not as good as Dynomat, for example, but it's supposed to be better than just the generic off-brand ones you can get on Amazon and eBay. This particular one is so it composes of a bitumen layer here in the back, which is what actually adheres to the metal pieces right here, as well as an aluminum metal part of it here on top. The aluminum on these particular sheets is 100 microns, so it's very, very dense. There are also other cheaper options which have only 50 or 80 micron density aluminum, so this one is supposed to be very good. I also have a couple of sheets of this. This is 4 mil thick, just sound deadening material. So this is vibro dampening and this is sound deadening. The way this works is you'll need to have a very clean surface here where you're going to be actually putting these sheets on, because it needs to adhere perfectly to the metal. If it doesn't, then it's not going to be able to absorb all of these vibrations that we can hear currently. Usually panels that are hidden, like these ones, and on the doors are very dirty, grimy, and filled with dust. So a good cleaning with rubbing alcohol, some microfiber towels is essential here. Having the surface prepped up, now I'll need to get my scissors and start cutting away this material in shapes and sizes that will be able to fill whatever voids are left here. So let's start with this. You can see now the entire backside of the sheet metal is covered all the way, basically till here. I put material till there, except in this place where you simply cannot put anything just because the way the metal is formed. Otherwise here you can see my hand reaches all the way up. So now it's still a little bit tiny, but definitely not as much as it used to be before. Now with this done, we need to put some of this material on top of it as well. I have also put up the 4mm sound deadener on top of the vibration dampener underneath. It goes all the way around, it's tucked in here as well, so it's pretty much everywhere I could put this thing in. It's extremely sticky, it's even stickier than this thing. So putting it into small crevices like this was impossible. It would just stick everywhere. So anyway, I think this will do a good job. And now it's time to put in the trim pieces. So the first thing that we'll need to do is, you see that I reinstalled the handle. We'll need to remove the handle. It has generally two plastic pieces here on top, which I had removed in order to get to the Phillips head screws. There are two, one here, one on the other side, and we'll need to remove this thing first. Then we'll need to put the pieces that go here and also on this side. If you ever have issues with the rear windshield wiper. This is the motor for it. It's very easily accessible. After you remove this piece, which is just clipped on, we'll get to this in a bit, just a bit later. So as you can see in these two pieces, so this one and this one, which go on the door here and also here, Mercedes from the factory put in these little vibration stoppers all the way around. We will replace these. I have got a ton of just these generic ones. We'll just put some of them in order to prevent any squeaks and rattles coming from these plastic pieces. Not only that, but where this screw goes, so there's a screw right here and a couple here on the top side, also on this side here and here. As you can see, there was some rubbing going on, so what I will put in there is something is this. So this is some wire harness tape, which is really soft, so I'll just cover the mating surfaces to prevent any squeaks and rattles coming from the plastic pieces. And then I'll just put these things on top. So let's start with putting the tape first, and also some of these little guys, these ones. So as you can see, I have added the tape here. The tape isn't really good quality, so it tends to come loose, but it will be just enough because the screws will go through it and it will be held in place by the plastic panels. So with the tape in place, we can now put in these things, which I have also put in some vibration dampeners here on either side, where Mercedes also put these original ones. So just a little bit more so that these things stay in place. This is how the plastic pieces, the plastic trim pieces attach. Screw here to on the top, and now the screws go through the wire tape, which is soft, and no more squeaks and rattles from these things. I have lost one of the screws, the one that goes right here, so I need to order a new one from Mercedes, but it's not going to be very difficult to put on because the piece that goes here on top, it simply snaps in place. And I'll show you how to deal with that in a little bit. But in the meantime, I have also removed the door handle. It's just two screws, like I said, here and here. It goes into these metal inserts. So now it's time to actually take the big trim piece right here and put it on. So this is the rear side of the cargo door cover. Like you can see, I have some of these plastic clips here, here, and on this side. They broke when I was trying to remove these things, so always have some at hand. I'll go and replace these, and I'll put this thing back on. So as you can see, there are no screws involved with this. It just attaches right back to the metal door, so the metal skin of the door. So the door panel is back in its place. This looks a little bit loose, but it won't be once we have the little plastic piece here and plastic insert back on. We also have the handle back on, and the handle, it goes only one way because as you can see, it's a little bit offset, so it's tilted. The nice thing about this though is that's written here right, so right side, left side, so left and right, so you can't really put it the other way around. Now we have to put on the plastic fastener covers on either side, but everything else except for the top part is already on. This thing is nicely glued back on as well. It looks good. And now for the final piece. So this thing, Mercedes already has put some vibration dampeners here, as well as some very, very thick ones here on the, I would say, bottom side. So the way that this thing attaches is it has these clips in the center, as you can see, and it also has clips like these on either end. So you just simply grab it, and the little cutout obviously needs to go to the bottom side because of the third brake light. So you simply grab it right here and put it in place. You give it a little tap here in the middle, one on this side, one on this side, and this piece will be right there sitting properly. No issue whatsoever. Here is the top part already installed, nice and secure. And now the last piece. So this trim piece, like I said, mine, it just broke in two basically, so I had to get a new one. This is the part number for it, 309 766 0225, and 9007 is the color code. For the black one, there are also ones in beige, and I also think gray. So they will have another 4 numbers here, but this is the primary part number right here. So let's put this real quick and we'll be done with this part. So the way that this little plastic piece attaches, you can see these little hooks on the back side. So it needs to be oriented like this, and then you simply slide it in place, you pull it in, and then to that side. So when you have it in place, you'll know firstly it will be flush right here. Secondly, also hear a noticeable click when it sits in place. I did put in the inserts. This one was already mangled a little bit before I took it out, but now it's considerably worse. So I might just order a new handle with these new some new plastic inserts to go along with this. Other than that, everything's put back in place. There are some marks like this and also here, but unfortunately Mercedes no longer sells this entire door cover, so there's nothing that can be done about that. The only thing is maybe finding a used one, but these are extremely expensive because they're unique to G-Wagon. So yeah, I think I'll just leave it as this.